Touching back on video 4, I mentioned a few things that are necessary for healthy connection with other people. Now that we've dug into self-worth, let's talk about boundaries. Boundaries are lines that, when crossed, cause you to experience anxiety. We all experience anxiety, some people with extreme anxiety disorders, but we still all have it. Some of us are so used to feeling it that we pretend it doesn't exist, and we don't realize that we have it at all. Our brains and egos have created behaviors to protect us from perceived danger, even if there's no danger at all. And for many people, we feel anxiety when we're vulnerable, and we all experience it when we feel ashamed. If our self-worth is very low, when our boundaries are crossed, and if we don't enforce them or have a plan of action to get us out of the anxious situation, our brains spiral into negative places. Every human has triggers for their own anxiety, and it's in doing the work that we learn these triggers and set healthy boundaries. These boundaries are non-negotiable because they're set to protect you and your own needs of feeling calm and not anxious. Here are a couple of examples. In his past relationships, my partner liked to flirt with other girls. He and I both know that he'd never cheat on me, but he says it makes me feel alive and it's harmless. But it isn't harmless because it's crossing my boundary. I get anxious, and therefore I am harmed. It is a need to have a partner who respects these boundaries. Relationships are about compromise, and it's the price of admission of being with me and being in my loving circle that this behavior doesn't continue, or else I'll leave and find someone who respects me. Here's another one. My mom and dad are separated. My mom always complains to me about my dad, and I have to do emotional work of comforting her. My boundary is, I'm still trying to have a relationship with my dad, and it's not okay with me for you to badmouth him in front of me. The boundary and action I make is, if you continue this behavior, I will walk away, hang up, or ignore your text until you respect that this is a boundary that I'm setting. A third and final example. In an intimate setting, my partner gets excited and aroused. I have a history of sexual assault and trauma that can be triggered for unexpected reasons. When that happens, I'm instantly not in the mood, and I need help getting calmed down. They often get upset and disappointed, which makes me feel guilty about it. The boundary and price of admission of being with me is that this is very scary and very stressful for me to navigate as well. I understand that this is frustrating for you, but I need you to support me and to withhold any of your disappointment until I am in a calm state, and then I will validate your feelings. It is important to understand our own anxieties and to be able to communicate them. Vulnerability, which is a full video I'll do in the future, is extremely challenging for some people, but is the foundation of healthy communication. It's also the cause of anxiety for many people who instinctively withhold their feelings. Knowing your boundaries is only half the battle. A plan of action is needed to help get yourself into a calm emotional state when you're in the midst of anxiety. When we're anxious, our heart rate elevates. We hold our breath and our thought patterns become more fearful. When our brains are affected, we struggle to make rational decisions, and instead we act based in fear and defensiveness. When we argue, it's usually because neither person feels heard or validated. Everything you yell makes the other person more anxious, intensifying and prolonging the anxious state. It's crucial to find calmness so we can approach conflict resolution with an open heart.